I used to think that I had to be the go-to person for everyone in my life. The reliable friend, the always available family member, the problem solver at work. But this was draining me. I had to recognize the cost. I had to face the fact that being everything for everyone was taking a toll on my mental and emotional health. I was burnt out, exhausted, and honestly, very fucking resentful. It wasn't sustainable. I needed to acknowledge that constantly being there for everyone was only making me miserable. One of the hardest things with this was letting go of the guilt, but I had to stop feeling guilty for taking a step back. I started to set small limits, like not picking up every phone call, or being okay with saying, I can't help with that right now. It was weird at first, and I definitely struggled with guilt, but I reminded myself that I'm important too. Accepting imperfection when you're trying to be everything for everyone is probably the most important part. I had to get comfortable with the fact that I wasn't going to be perfect or meet everyone's expectations all the time. Once I accepted that, a huge weight was lifted off my shoulders. I stopped pressuring myself to be everything for everyone and focused on being true to what I could do without burning out. The next thing I had to learn was it's okay to let people down. For a long time, I thought that if I let someone down, I was failing as a friend, person, partner. But trying to never disappoint someone is a losing battle. It'll leave you constantly betraying yourself. So I had to reframe what it meant to disappoint someone. Instead of seeing it as a personal failure, I started viewing it as a sign that I was respecting my own boundaries. I realized that if saying no or choosing myself over someone's expectations let them down, that was a them problem and their disappointment to handle, not mine. You have to be okay with the discomfort that comes with letting people down. The first few times I said no to someone who was expecting a yes was so uncomfortable. I had knots in my stomach. I was holding my breath. I wasn't even breathing correctly. And I second guessed myself and almost took myself out of it every single time. But I pushed through and I reminded myself that my discomfort was temporary. Like I said, it'll last at max 5 minutes. And sacrificing your needs have a much longer impact. You'll be okay. When I struggled to stick to my boundaries, I'd remind myself why I was doing it. I knew I couldn't keep everyone else happy without sacrificing my own happiness. So whenever I felt tempted to cave, I focused on my long-term well-being instead of short-term approval. And the last thing I had to unlearn, which I'm pretty sure would be big for everyone, is if I can, I should. I used to believe that if I could help someone, then I was obligated to do so. It didn't matter how exhausted, busy, overwhelmed I was. If I had the ability, I thought I should help. It was a huge mindset shift to realize that just because I can doesn't mean I have to. I got into the habit of checking in with myself before saying yes to anything. Literally just asking myself, do I have the time, energy, or desire to do this? And if the answer wasn't a hell yes, it was a no for me. It's about being honest with your capacity, not just the ability. I still love to help people, but I learned to set limits. Instead of jumping in 100% all the time, sometimes that meant just giving advice instead of being hands-on, or my favorite, setting a time limit or how long I'm going to be somewhere. By challenging these deep-rooted beliefs, I started to shed the people-pleaser mindset that was holding me back. Being true to myself is worth way more than constant approval or being seen as the nice girl.